You really look at it and you think about your own children or other children that you know, and you imagine that what would happen if their parents emotionally neglected them, emotionally did not show up for them, did not support them, and encouraged them to suppress their emotions. Their emotions were not welcome, especially for people who are deeply sensitive. This is such a deep need for our emotions to be welcomed and be given a safe nest to rest. Welcome to Deep Within. On this show, we dive deep into the nervous system, emotional healing, and transformation from within the body. When I started my personal development journey, it was all in the mind, doing affirmations, visualizations, listening to endless motivational videos. And I found that this approach, without actually getting my body on board, only left me in deeper shame and distress. So this is actually how I discovered somatic body-based healing. My name is Marina Yanai Trainer, and I am the Compassionate Somatic Coach. I am gentle, sensitive, and I love deep conversations. I'm so excited and so glad you're here so we can feel like we're together in our own little bubble of deep talks. Last year, I was staying with a friend in San Diego for like 2.5 months. And during that time, I had a crush on a guy. And so I'm like standing in her kitchen. She is sitting there watching me like make us food because I love to cook, and I'm cooking for her. And I'm kind of being like giggly, kind of excited, kind of, like a little teenager about this guy. And I'm telling her about him, and I'm giggling away. And she's like, "Oh my God, you're like 14 right now." And I want to die. I just want to like hide. And she's like, "I love it. It's so cute. I love how cute you're being right now." And it was so interesting because I witnessed myself feeling so weird about it, like wanting to hide, wanting to disappear in that moment. And why is that? Like, why the heck is it that being excited is not okay? And this week I ran a master class called Ease, and every participant there, I think everybody said they struggle with excitement. They feel like it's not okay. So I know a lot of you relate to this feeling that like being excited isn't okay. You need to be serious. You need to be put together. You need to be, just have kind of a flat smile on your face and just kind of feel nothing. And my friend was like, "I love it. You're so cute. You're adorable. I love this version of you. I'm so glad I get to see this part of you." And I am so grateful that I got to experience that, not just to allow myself to get excited, which has taken a lot of work to get to, which I'll tell you about, but also to be witnessed in it and to be told that it's beautiful, that it's sweet, that there's nothing wrong with it, And so I want to talk about this kind of suppression that we live in. And the whole premise of my program that I'm launching right now called the Unburdened Heart, which is a 3-month intimate group program. And I'm going to share all the details in the show notes. It's really about that. It's really about you unleashing your authenticity. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I ever lie or I'm dishonest. People actually think that I'm very authentic. I've always been authentic. I've always been true to myself. I've always said what I thought, been very honest, even shared about my life in a very open way. Like you guys know on social media, I share so much about my life. So what I mean by authenticity here is vulnerability, because I don't think that we should be vulnerable with everybody in our life, but there are those special people that deserve that part of us. And I want you to know that living with all this suppression, the suppression of your excitement, of your joy, of your sadness, of your fears, like always having a mask on, always seeming like I'm okay, I'm fine, I don't need anything, I'm fine. It has such a toll on us, such a deep toll. For my entire life since birth, I've struggled with digestion. Now, I am a whole food, plant-based eater for like over 10 years now. I literally eat better than most humans that I know. I don't have any like physical condition that would make me have digestive issues. And I've had them my entire life. And this has changed in the last few months to the point where my digestion is so regular. I barely ever have any trouble with it, where it used to be a nightmare. Like it used to literally occupy, I don't know, 40% of my energy to like think about it and feel it and be frustrated about it. And why is that? I believe firmly it's because I stopped censoring myself. It's because I stopped this suppression. And this suppression is of your voice. It's of your body. It's, everything goes together in our body. So when we have been taught in our childhood that our expression of joy, our expression of excitement, our expression of sadness and fear and anger and disgust, all of these emotions is not welcomed. Maybe the adults in our lives when we were children reacted to it with contempt. Maybe they reacted with scorn. Maybe they reacted with ridicule. Whatever it was that taught you, you're not allowed to do that. That's not safe. The adults in my life disconnect from me when I do that. Then what did we learn? We learned to create fake connection. What I mean by that is you hide parts of yourself that you think will be scorned or judged. And you're living out of that trauma every single day. And I know that many of us don't realize how big of a trauma it is when your emotional expression is not welcome. One of my most favorite therapists and authors is Pete Walker. And he has a book on CPTSD in which he talks about physical abuse as a trauma. And that is so obvious to us. Like, of course, if you were hit, if you were physically neglected or abused, that's traumatic. What about emotionally? And he talks about the deep, deep harm of this and how so many people don't even realize it and how incredibly harmful it is to us, especially because we don't realize it. But because it's so subtle, like we've had parents, I think many of you, of course, some of you have not, unfortunately, but many of us have had parents that like provided us with food and water and took care of us and like took us to school and whatnot, right? Like those basic needs. And so it's hard to say, my parents fucked me up, But when you really look at it and you think about your own children or other children that you know, and you imagine that what would happen if their parents emotionally neglected them, emotionally did not show up for them, did not support them, and encouraged them to suppress their emotions. Their emotions were not welcome, especially for people who are deeply sensitive. This is such a deep need for our emotions to be welcomed and be given a safe nest to rest. And so when that doesn't happen, it really affects every area of our life. It affects creating these fake relationships where we wear a mask and it's so deeply lonely in there. It's so deeply lonely behind our mask because there's a whole world and nobody gets to see it. Nobody gets to see you. Nobody gets to feel you. And you don't get the connection that your heart is literally praying for. You don't get to feel that depth of love and just being seen. And that feeling is so beautiful to just be seen for who you are. And so besides that, those beautiful aspects of like the deep connections you could be having with your partner, with your friends, even with some coworkers, right? Of course, it varies in depth, but like the people who really love you and want to love you, and you're basically not letting them love you. I know because I lived that way for so long. I didn't let people really love me. And that hurt all the time. Like I craved it so bad, but I wasn't allowing it. It's so deeply painful not to have those connections. And then there's the suppression, right? The digestive issues. Literally, you're constricting your body constantly to fit into what your parents taught you was the right way to exist. And you might not think so anymore. This is outdated programming. So the unburdened heart is about removing those burdens and allowing our heart to be there, to exist, you know? And part of it is like not caretaking for others, not being the one that is always fixing everybody, that is always showing up for everybody and neglecting yourself. That's part of it. And the other part is the burden of constantly monitoring yourself. You're monitoring yourself and other people in your life so that you say and do all the right things that they want to hear. Not only is it exhausting, it's just depleting to our soul and our spirit. And in this program, will share with you live, actually. Well, I plan to share every practice, every shift that I have gone through in order to get to a point where I actually have friendships in which I am myself, in the deepest parts of me, and I allow those parts to be seen. The other day, I was really sad, and I knew that I needed to be seen in my sadness. Because you know what? Crying by yourself, that can be helpful, important. That was part of my process for a long time. But I am telling you from this perspective of where I am today, that being seen in your tears is so deeply healing, because your inner child part of you in that moment is experiencing the healing experience that you needed back then. And we can do all the healing work in the world, but we need that healing work to amount to something, right? To result in a shift. And the shift that I get to experience now is to be seen in who I really am. And it's just so it's so soothing and so beautiful. And it allows me to grieve if I need to be joyful if I need to, and to be in this flow of life, in this flow that there's no stuckness and rumination as much as I used to have. So I called one of my really good friends here in Costa Rica, and it was funny because she had lost her voice, and she was like, maybe you want to record me a voice note, because I can't respond to you. I lost my voice. And the old me would be like, okay, but that's not what I really want, you know? So I said, you know what? That's not what I really want. What I really want is to call you and cry with you. And she said, okay. So for 45 minutes, my dear, beautiful friend was with me on the phone, typing back to me, and I am just sobbing. I am sobbing for 45 minutes. You guys, there's no chance in hell I would have done that years ago. No way. No way. And after that call, I just felt such a deep sense of, number one, soothing for my pain. Number two, connection with my friend and being seen. And there is such a deep cost to not having that. You know, there's a beautiful benefit and there's a deep cost, and I will talk about it more in the future. But for me, it amounted in many addictions, many coping mechanisms that were very harmful. For example, I would go to men. I would go and find fucked up men to fix so that I could cry with them. And they never actually gave me what I truly needed or wanted, you know? But I would fill that void, that hole in my soul through men. And I don't have that urge as much anymore. And even when I have that urge, I don't need to react on it because I have these beautiful relationships in my life that I can go to, and I can feel that connection, and I can feel being seen, and all these amazing needs are being met. So this is what I'm going to walk you through. It's going to be such a deeply transformative experience where you get to meet these deep parts of you that we don't meet by just talking. We have to feel them, and we have to feel them in a safe space. And that's what we're creating together. And moving through these practices and really meeting yourself so that you can get to a point where you are yourself more and more every day in your relationships, and you don't need these coping mechanisms, and you're actually present to your children, to your partner, and your friendships. It is such a beautiful gift. And so I am so excited about this program. It's 3 months long. There are 9 sessions and support in between. And there's also a really cool bonus right now and an early bird pricing. And the bonus is the first 3 people to sign up are going to get 24 hours with me and Voxer. And what that means is we pick a time that works for both of us during the time of the program, and you actually share what is going on with you specifically. What are your triggers? What is coming up for you? And we really dive deep into that. It's basically like a 24-hour coaching session, except that we also get to sleep. So that's really cool. And then the first 5 people that join the Unburdened Heart, they receive access to my signature best-selling course, which is Treasures in the Trigger. And that is an amazing course that teaches you how to move through your triggers. So I am extremely excited. Check out the details if this is speaking to you. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to this episode. If you liked it, please make sure to leave me a review so that more beautiful humans can get to this podcast, and subscribe to the show. And please do share it with a friend who would benefit. And I always love to hear from all of you on Instagram, so visit me there at marina.y.t. I share really awesome content and would love to hear your comments about the episodes. Until next time, I love you so much and I appreciate you. Have the most beautiful day.